All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this daily forecast for tomorrow, the last day of the week, Friday, August 21st. So let's start by looking at the economic calendar for tomorrow. We actually have some Canadian dollar news with GDP coming out. We have whatever this is. I've never seen that before. Preliminary benchmark payrolls revision. That could potentially be interesting. I've never seen that before in the economic calendar, so let's keep an eye on this. Then we have a bunch of inflation, consumer sentiment, and on Saturday, or actually, no, it starts tomorrow. There's the Jackson Hole Synopsium, and that's basically like an economic forum where all the people from Wall Street and Federal Reserve, the government all meet up and they talk about the economy. So I know that Kevin Warsh is going to be talking at this event, and that might move the markets a lot. So let's keep an eye on this. But other than that, I think tomorrow we should have a good day overall with some decent volatility. Starting with the dollar here. So today, this is exactly what I said yesterday. That's exactly what I said, and it happened. So I'm really happy about this. The dollar right here, we just reached the 0.75 level and that swing low, and we are currently sweeping it. We are currently respecting those levels. Now, that's a good thing, but on the other hand, on the bearish side, we actually created a huge daily fair value gap. So right now, the most likely thing for price to do is to trade the back inside this fair value gap and from there continue lower. That's the most logical thing for price to do. So unless we're proven otherwise, this fair value gap should hold and we should get lower prices on the dollar tomorrow. So that means that we would like to see higher prices on GU, which we won't get, I believe, because if you look at this, we now have this daily fair value gap, right? But the problem is that we already reached the target. So the target has been taken, and so that makes it not interesting anymore. It has delivered. Now, EU again, this one is probably the best this week. Still looks a lot like the dollar, which is what we like. We have we actually have, wow, okay, we have this fair value area right here. That's even better. Overlapping with the daily fair value gap. So again, I think EU is pretty obvious. We're going to get a retracement to the fair value area, and from there, higher prices until the 0.75 level. So EU for tomorrow would potentially be my favorite. Let's look at the others, see if there's other better ones. I think New Zealand dollar, US dollar is still interesting. That hasn't changed. We have that daily fair value gap overlapping. Well, actually, no. This is not a valid fair value area. So just this fair value gap alone. And we have reached this target, which was a 4 hour target, I believe. Yes. And now the next target for New Zealand dollar, US dollar is this swing high right here. So same game plan here. Then on EU, just a retracement inside the fair value gap to then continue higher. Then USD Canadian to get lower prices. So we now have the daily fair value gap. And yeah, it's basically the same story that we're just waiting for retracement back in here in the fair value gap and then lower prices until we reach the 0.75 level. So USD Canadian is also interesting. And then finally, USD JPY. This is no, this is not good anymore. Don't like it. All right, well, I do like all three of them, but if I had to like put them in order of like the best to the worst, I would probably say USD Canadian would be my first pick, EU would be my second, and then NU would be my last. Okay? All right. So now moving on to the metals. Uh, Sorry, I'm just gonna remove some stuff here. Mm, So on gold today, we actually had a retracement down here, and if you look on the 4 hour, you can see that it's simply a retracement inside this fair value gap. So there was actually a beautiful opportunity today for a long here on gold, and let me show you because it's worth looking at it. So we have this 4 hour fair value gap, right? And right at New York Open, right here, we get the sharp turn, right? So the fair value gap coming in, and then 15-minute fair value gap going out. And the entry was right here on this sharp turn, this fair value gap. You cover that low, and then you just simply aim for 1 to 2. That was a beautiful trade. I hope you guys saw it. I hope you took it because it was, well, pretty obvious. All right. So today, what happened on gold? We reached the golden level. At the same time, we created a daily fair value gap right here. So at this moment in time, I don't really think that we're going to retrace back to this daily fair value gap. It doesn't seem like it right now, but it could happen. So just keep that in mind. And the reason why I don't think we're going to retrace back into this daily fair value gap is because we already have this far fair value gap. So if we want to continue higher and, for example, reach, well, this swing high right here that we could potentially sweep, remember this swing high? Well, if we want to reach that, we can do so by just moving higher from the 4 hour fair value gap. So this one right here, okay? And so that's why I believe that we won't be retracing into the daily fair value gap, okay? So yeah, right now the game plan is simply looking to see if this 4 hour fair value gap can hold and push price higher. If it doesn't, then we have a clear target in the form of this daily fair value gap down here. But just know that this scenario is just less likely to happen. Okay. Um, I moved this Fibonacci. All right. So that's it for gold. Tomorrow just higher prices. Higher prices. That's what we're expecting tomorrow. Same thing on silver as well. If you look at silver right here, we actually don't have that daily fair value gap that we have on gold, but we have the 4 hour fair value gap right here. There we go. So higher prices from this 4 hour fair value gap is the most likely thing for price to do right now. And the next target on silver is this rejection high right here. We can sweep, and that also happens to be really, really in close proximity with the zero point 0.5 level. So what I think will happen on the longer term is something that looks a little bit like this, and then something like this. That's the long-term plan here for the metals. So both gold and silver. Um, so tomorrow, just for tomorrow, higher prices on both of these. Moving on to oil. So we went higher today on oil, like we expected it to. No surprise here. At some point during the day, we were up like almost 3%, I believe. So basically, what happened? We just pushed higher from this daily fair value gap. Now, we have closed above this target. So that's a good sign. That's a good bullish sign. Now, let's look at the 4 hour. Yeah, right now it does seem like this 4 hour fair value gap is not really holding. So I would want to monitor this heading into tomorrow. See, are we going to get lower prices? Sorry, because it is actually possible that at this moment we could get some lower prices and still reach the fair value area down here to then actually start moving higher. We'll have to see what happens here. Yeah, it's really just about monitoring this 4 hour fair value gap. But overall, let's be objective here. Higher prices tomorrow on crude oil. Then Bitcoin, a very surprising move here on Bitcoin, I have to admit. I was not expecting price to reach so deep inside the monthly fair value gap, but then I actually drew my Fibonacci on this and look at where we are, golden level. So I think that could be the area where price finally starts reversing. So something like this, and then we just get lower prices. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But for now, I wouldn't say don't. Well, I would say consolidation on Bitcoin tomorrow. We have reached a major level. We have moved so fast, so far. Uh, Price needs to slow down at some point, and I think that's going to be tomorrow, and it's Friday as well. So I think it's going to be much slower tomorrow on Bitcoin. So just consolidation, potentially creating a daily fair value gap heading into next week. Then we have the indices. Massive drop on the indices today. I am very happy about this, especially on the S&P. That's, I think, one of the worst on the day. Well, actually, Dow Jones is even worse, but S&P going lower. So that's what we wanted to see. So right now, there is only one possibility in my mind, and that is a consolidation, sadly. I think we're just going to consolidate tomorrow to create a daily fair value gap. That's the most obvious thing for price to do right now. And then if you look at Nasdaq, Nasdaq is not so clear. I have to be honest. I can't say. I honestly can't say. Maybe we could have higher prices tomorrow. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's a possibility where we could have a retracement back inside the daily fair value gap to then continue lower next week. I don't know. This is really reacting. But overall, if you look at all the indices, so you look at Dow Jones, you look at Russell, you look at everything, and it just looks like, yeah, we might be in for a simple consolidation tomorrow. And the real opportunity is going to be there next week. So we'll see what happens. But for now, I'm expecting consolidation. And finally, let's take a look at our crosses, the JPY pairs. Oh my God, that delivered beautifully. Oh, I feel bad now. I told you guys to stay on the sidelines for the JPY pairs yesterday, and I said wait for Friday, but now it already delivered. So Canadian dollar JPY has already reached the target, which was the context high right here. Now I'm taking a step back, and we could be in a third candle consolidation here. This is not interesting anymore. Euro JPY, same scenario. The only one that could still be interesting on the short term would be Australian dollar JPY because we still have the target that is unreached. So we still have that to reach. And on the 4 hour, right now, we are in the process of, well, respecting this fair value gap. So we can get it in set up, potentially a 15-minute fair value gap going higher. This can still deliver towards the target up here. So Australian dollar JPY is still interesting for Friday, for tomorrow. Then GBP New Zealand dollar. Uh, that's not very clear. Okay, so overall today we didn't really do anything significant, and this fair value gap still hasn't been mitigated. So right now, this is still intact, keeping it on the interest list. We're just waiting for price to stay inside that fair value gap, and from there, looking for an entry targeting this low. So that hasn't changed, still interesting. And then GBP Australian dollar, nothing has changed also. So for the crosses, we have GBP New Zealand dollar. We're looking for short, and then Australian dollar JPY looking for a long until we reach this high. These are both pretty interesting. I'm not gonna lie. All right, so a little recap here for tomorrow. The dollar, we're expecting lower prices from this daily fair value gap. If we do get those lower prices, then take a look at USD Canadian EU. Potentially, they could both be very interesting. Then the metals, we're expecting higher prices tomorrow from those 4 hour fair value gaps on both silver and gold right here. We can have higher prices tomorrow. Crude oil, we're expecting higher prices, potentially a consolidation. We'll see, but overall higher prices. Bitcoin, we're expecting consolidation tomorrow, just like on the indices. So the indices and Bitcoin, we're expecting consolidations tomorrow. But other than that, when it comes to the majors, I think we could get some interesting moves tomorrow on the majors, on the metals, and on the crosses. So we have some potential setups lining up here. Let's keep an eye on all of that. So with that said, I'm wishing you a good weekend, and I will be back on Sunday with the weekly forecast. So trade safe tomorrow, and I will see you next week. Thank you for listening. Ciao.